Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel Legal Decipher. In the previous video we had discussed about chapter 11 of the Indian Penal Code 1860. If you have not seen that video, you can go and check it. The link is in the description below. In today's video we are going to discuss about chapter 12 of the Indian Penal Code. We'll go through the chapter and try to understand the substance therein. So if you are new here, please like and subscribe to my channel to get the video notifications. So let's get started. So today we are going to read chapter 12 that deals with offences relating to coin and government stamps. So this chapter basically is a long chapter, but it is very easy to understand. It deals with the following offences, that is counterfeiting currency or banknotes, using as genuine forged or counterfeit currency notes or banknotes, possessing forged or counterfeit currency notes or banknotes, making or possessing instruments for forging or counterfeiting currency notes or banknotes, and making or using documents resembling currency notes or banknotes. So basically it deals with coins, banknotes and stamps. So to understand this chapter we need to first understand what is coin. Now section 230 defines coin. It says coin is a metal used for the time being as money. So it is a piece of metal that is used as money, and it is stamped and issued by the authority of some state or sovereign power in order to be so used. So not all pieces of metals are used as coins. It must be first stamped and issued by some authority who is in charge to do so. Generally that is a state or a sovereign power. So when a state or sovereign power stamps and issues a piece of metal, then it is used as coin and it is thought to be money. Now what is Indian coin? Indian coin is a metal stamped and issued by the authority of the government of India. So whenever that piece of metal is stamped and issued by the government of India, then it becomes an Indian coin to be used as money in the territories of India. And metal which has been so stamped and issued shall continue to be Indian coin for the purposes of this chapter, notwithstanding that it may have ceased to be used as money. So whether it is in operation or not, if it was issued and stamped by the government of India and was used for some time as money, then it will be thought to be an Indian coin. Now section 231 talks about counterfeiting of coin. So whoever counterfeits or knowingly performs any part of the process of counterfeiting coin, then he shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. So if any person counterfeits a coin, then he shall be imprisoned with then he shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 7 years and he may also be fined. Now what is a counterfeited coin? A counterfeited coin is not a genuine coin. It is a spurious coin which resembles a genuine coin. Now section 231 and 232 punishes a person for counterfeiting a coin. Here we can see that section 232 talks about counterfeiting Indian coin. So if you are counterfeiting a coin, then you will be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. And if you are counterfeiting an Indian coin, then whoever does so or knowingly performs any part of the process of such counterfeiting of an Indian coin, then he shall be punished with imprisonment for life or with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now section 233 talks about making or selling of instruments for counterfeiting coin. So if someone is making the instruments and selling it for the purposes of counterfeiting of such coin, then this person shall be punished with imprisonment for either description for a term which may extend to 3 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now if such person is making or selling instrument for counterfeiting of an Indian coin, then that is covered under section 234. He will be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now what happens if someone possesses? So he has in his possession instruments or materials that are used for the purpose of counterfeiting a coin. Then in that case this person will be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years and shall also be liable to fine. And if it is an and if such possession of such instrument or material was for counterfeiting an Indian coin, then that person shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now, section 236 talks about abatement of counterfeiting of a coin out of India, but such abatement was made within India. In that case, that person who was so abating will be punished in the same manner as if he had abated the counterfeiting of such coin within India. Now, section 237 talks about import or export of counterfeit coin. It says whoever imports into India or exports therefrom any counterfeit coin. So, either he imports or he exports any counterfeit coin into India or from India. Then, if he knows or has reasons to believe that the same is counterfeited, that means he knows what he is doing, then he shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years and shall also be liable to fine. Section 238 talks about import or export of counterfeits of an Indian coin. So in that case, if the coin is Indian, then this person shall be punished with imprisonment for life or with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now section 239 talks about delivery of coin possessed with knowledge that it is counterfeit. So if he is delivering a coin and he knows that it is a counterfeit coin, then in that case, if he fraudulently or with intention to commit fraud delivers the same thing to any person or attempts to induce any person to receive it, then he shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 5 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now, section 240 talks about delivery of Indian coin possessed with knowledge that it is counterfeit. So, if the same thing happens with an Indian coin, then this person who is so trying to deliver such coin, or then he shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now, section 241 talks about delivery of coin as genuine, which when first possessed, the deliverer did not know to be counterfeit. So, whoever delivers any counterfeit coin to any other person as a genuine coin or attempts to induce this person, this other person, to receive that coin and says that yes, this is a genuine coin, but that was actually a counterfeit coin, but this person did not know that it was a counterfeit coin, so he also believed that it is a genuine coin. So the coin was actually counterfeited. The person who was trying to deliver that coin or trying to induce the other person to receive such coin, he thought that coin is genuine, but actually the coin was counterfeited, and he actually delivers it or attempts to induce other person to receive it. Then this person, even though he did not know that it was a counterfeited coin, he shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 2 years or with fine, or to an amount which may extend to 10 times the value of the coin counterfeited, or with both. So he may either be imprisoned for 2 years or he will be awarded a fine which may extend to 10 times the value of the coin counterfeited. So say for example, if the person was trying to deliver a counterfeited coin of 10 rupees, then he will be fined 100 rupees. That means 10 times the value of such coin that was counterfeited. Section 242 talks about possession of counterfeit coin by person who knew it to be counterfeit when he became possessed thereof. So once he possessed the coin, he knew that it was a counterfeit coin, but still he possessed. So whoever does that will be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 3 years and shall also be liable to fine. Section 243 talks about possession of Indian coin by person who knew it to be counterfeit when he became possessed thereof. So if the same thing happens with an Indian coin, that means he, as soon as he possessed that coin, he knew that this Indian coin was counterfeited, but still he possessed it. So in that case, he shall be punished with imprisonment for either description for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now, section 244 talks about person employed in mint causing coin to be of different weight or composition from that fixed by law. So what happens is that whenever a government or a sovereign authority who is in charge of making coins, they by law fix a particular measurement, weight, composition of a currency coin, and the mint where that currency coin was made always prints the same coin in the same weight and same composition that is fixed by law. He cannot alter such weight or composition and make a coin of a different weight or different composition. That is prohibited by law. So whenever he does so, whenever he violates the law and makes a coin of a different weight or different composition that was fixed by law, then this person who was so making such different coin will be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now section 245 talks about unlawfully taking coining instrument from mint. So all the coining instruments that are used in making a coin are generally kept in mint. So they are not taken away from the mint anywhere because that is of a national importance. Now if some person unlawfully tries to take the coining instruments from the mint, then whoever does so without lawful authority shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now 246 talks about fraudulently or dishonestly diminishing weight or altering composition of coin. So now the alteration of the weight and composition of the coin is done by diminishing it. So whatever weight was supposed to be, that person intentionally diminished it. So say for example, the coin was supposed to be of 1 gram. Now this person diminished the weight. So in that case, he shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 3 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now explanation says that a person who scoops out part of the coin and puts anything else into that cavity to alter the composition of the coin shall also be thought to be an offence under this section. Now section 247 talks about fraudulently or dishonestly diminishing weight or altering composition of Indian coin. So whoever does this kind of act of diminishing weight or altering composition to a Indian coin, that person will be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Section 248 talks about altering appearance of coin with intent that it shall pass as coin of different description. Now what this person does is he alters the appearance of a coin. So the coin was supposed to look like something else and he altered its appearance, and now he intends with that altered appearance so that this coin can be passed with a different description. Say for example, he did something to make a 1 rupee coin look like a 2 rupee coin or something like that. It's just an example to make you understand that he tried to alter the appearance of that coin so that such coin can be passed as a coin of a different description. So in that case, this person will be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now section 249 talks about altering appearance of Indian coin with intent that it shall pass as a coin of a different description. So whoever does so with an Indian coin will be punished with a description for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now section 250 talks about delivery of coin possessed with knowledge that it is altered. So whoever knows that this coin is altered and still he delivers that coin with such knowledge, then he shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 5 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now section 251 talks about delivery of Indian coin possessed with knowledge that it is altered. So whoever does so with an Indian coin, he will be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now section 252 talks about possession of coin by person who knew it to be altered when he became possessed thereof. So whoever fraudulently or with intent that fraud may be committed is in possession of coin with respect to which offence defined in either section 246 or 248 has been committed, having known at the time of being possessed that such offence had been committed with respect to such coin. So this person knew that the coin was altered and still he possessed that coin. He shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now section 253 talks about the same thing but in respect of an Indian coin. So in that case, this person shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 5 years and shall also be liable to fine. Section 254 talks about delivery of coin as genuine, which when first possessed, the deliverer did not know to be altered. So if such person during his first possession of such coin, he thought that it was genuine but it was not, it was an altered coin, then if the deliverer did not know about such alteration, then that person who delivered such coin shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 2 years or with fine or with both, and that fine amount may be extended to 10 times of the value of the coin for which the altered coin is passed or attempted to be passed. Now section 255 talks about counterfeiting government stamps. So whoever counterfeits or knowingly performs any part of the process of counterfeiting any stamp issued by government for the purpose of revenue. So basically government makes stamps for collection of revenue. The stamp paper is just a piece of paper with inscriptions of the government that are used for collecting revenue. So whoever makes fraud stamp papers and uses them to collect such revenue, he shall be punished with imprisonment for life or with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now an explanation says that a person commits this offence who counterfeits by causing a genuine stamp paper of one denomination to appear like a genuine stamp paper of a different denomination. So say for example, this person took a 100 rupees stamp paper and he made it look like a 1000 rupees stamp paper. So he took a genuine stamp and made it look like a genuine stamp of another denomination. So this person will be thought to be committing a crime under this particular section. Now section 256 talks about having possession of instrument or material for counterfeiting government stamps. So if a person possesses the instruments or materials that are used to counterfeit a government stamp, then this person shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Section 257 talks about making or selling instrument for counterfeiting government stamp. So whoever makes or sells instruments that are used for counterfeiting a government stamp, then that person will be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Now section 258 talks about sale of counterfeit government stamp. So whoever actually sells the counterfeited government stamps or offers to sell, so this person will be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Section 259 talks about having possession of counterfeit government stamp. So say for example, this person is found to have possession of counterfeited government stamp, then in that case that person shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. Section 260 talks about using as genuine a government stamp known to be counterfeit. So he knows that this government stamp is a counterfeit stamp, still he uses it as a genuine government stamp. So in that case that person will be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 7 years or with fine or with both. Now section 261 talks about effacing writing from substance bearing government stamp or removing from document a stamp used for it with intent to cause loss to government. So whoever does the act, that is fraudulently or with intention to cause a loss to the government, so his intention was to cause a severe loss to the government, so in that process he removes or effaces from any substance that bears any stamp issued by the government for the purpose of revenue. So say for example, there was a stamp paper and there was some inscriptions upon that stamp that made it a genuine stamp for collecting revenue. Now he tried to remove any of such substance or efface any of such substance on which such government inscriptions were made. So in that case, if he removed any writing or any other figure, mark or anything that was authenticated by the government who issued it, then for doing so this person shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years or with fine or with both. Now section 262 talks about using government stamp known to have been used before. So this person knew that this government stamp has been used before, still he uses it again. So he basically uses again a used stamp. So if he does so, then he shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 2 years, or with fine, or with both. Now section 263 talks about erasure of mark denoting that stamp has been used. So whoever takes a used stamp, and in such used stamp generally there are some marks that denote that this stamp has been used. Now this person takes that used stamp and erases those marks that are denoting that such stamp has been used. Then in that case, for doing so, this person shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years, or with fine, or with both. Section 263A applies to prohibition of fictitious stamps. So whoever makes or knowingly utters or deals in or sells any fictitious stamp, or knowingly uses for any postal purpose of any such fictitious stamp, or if he has in his possession without any lawful excuse any fictitious stamp, or whoever makes or without any lawful excuse has in his possession any die, plate, instrument, or materials that are used for making such fictitious stamp, then in all of these cases that person has committed an offence under section 263A, and he shall be punished with fine which may extend to 200 rupees. Now any such stamp, die, plate, instrument, or material that was in possession of that person for making any such fictitious stamp will be seized, may be seized, and if it is seized, then it shall be forfeited. Now in this section, fictitious stamp means any stamp falsely purporting to be used by government for the purpose of denoting a rate of postage, or any facsimile or imitation or representation, whether on paper or otherwise, of any stamp issued by government for that purpose. So what does fictitious stamp mean? Subsection 3 defines it. It says that anything that is used by the government for denoting these things that are written here, or any stamp that is issued by the government for that purpose, whether on paper or otherwise, then if such a stamp is falsely made, then that will fall under the definition of fictitious stamp. And subsection 4 says that in this section, and also in section 255 to 263, both inclusive, the word government, when used in connection or in reference to any stamp issued for the purpose of denoting a rate of postage, shall, notwithstanding anything in section 17, be deemed to include the person or persons authorized by law to administer executive government in any part of India. So it is basically talking about any executive government in any part of India, and shall also part of Her Majesty's dominions or in any foreign country. So all these fall within the term government. So that was the last section of this chapter. It is a lengthy yet a very easy chapter. So I hope you understood this chapter. So that's all in this video. If you like my videos, then don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video.